Hi, and welcome to this episode of Resilient Voices. In the studio with me today, I have a woman from Slovakia. She's born in Slovakia. Her name is Monika. She's a therapist, and she's founded her own therapy. She's a founder of Monika Therapy, I was going to say, but yeah. Which she's just really working in the intersection of psychology, somatic healing, and some yoga, which just sounds really, really interesting. And a lot of her work is based on her own experiences. So she will share her story of transformation, and obviously, adult transformation requires resilience. So that's where what we're going to talk about today. So with that said, welcome to everyone who's listening, and welcome, Monika.
Thank you very much, Jessica, for this warm welcome. I really appreciate the space you create.
Thank you. Thank you. So I find that you came to me and to the podcast with the intention wanting to share your experience in order to bring some of your experiences and of transformation and healing and the resilience that came out from that with us here today. So it's about quite a painful story, as I understand it, but I guess development and transformation often comes with pain, right?
Right.
Yeah, so it's part of the whole, it's the package deal. But do you want to just sort of start with maybe just share a little bit about when this journey started? Was it one particular moment in time, or are we talking about longer process, and just take us into that, sort of put us in a bit of a context.
Right. So maybe I would like to underline what I want to talk about today.
Yes.
As my transformation took many years, so maybe 15, 16 years of deep inner work.
Yeah.
And it definitely impacted all areas of my life. But today I would like to talk specifically about relationships, as I've seen the biggest impact in the area of relationships. And I chose to speak about, or I would like to talk about this topic because it's very present everywhere, right?
Yeah.
It keeps coming back again and again in my own story, with my friends, with my family, with my clients, in social media. It's everywhere.
Yeah. And then you talk about like relationships in general.
I would like to talk about love relationships.
Romantic relationships.
Romantic relationships, yeah.
Interesting.
So
I love that. That's a very, very topic that comes up all the time, and especially with how difficult it is to be in a healthy romantic relationship, or to find that right.
To find that, to create that maybe.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, but it feels like a lot of people are looking for it.
Exactly.
As it is something to be found. But
and that's why I decided to share my story.
Yeah.
Because I was there. I was one of those people looking and not understanding, and so I would like to share that experience and what have helped me.
Yeah, that sounds like a very, very good topic. So then if you go back then in time, because I assume that this comes from a relationship that was not a healthy relationship, a relationship that taught you something, and that's why you're here wanting to share about
Exactly.
it. Right.
So, Jessica, I would like to start by telling you a story. So, it's a story of a little girl that was born to a family that already had 2 sisters. A very controlling mother and an absent father.
Oh, okay.
It's not easy to share this story, so I can feel.
You can feel the emotions, and obviously this is I appreciate that, and thank you for sharing that.
I just want to take some time for me, to kind of give you a background, like what was going on.
Yeah.
And so this third little girl that came to the world was not really expected or wanted. So it was really hard for her to find her place. So she was just taking up the place, whatever was left in the house. And her needs were kind of disregarded or were not important. And she was not really understanding what she's doing wrong, or why she has to fight for love, why she has to fight for her space, and all these kind of things. And she was getting the subtle message from the environment that she's not worthy and that she's not good enough. And, all these kind of things people are experiencing or can experience.
How old was this little girl then?
When she started to realize 4, 5, 6, I think this is when we start to realize a little bit what's going on around us. And we start to make it about us. Yeah. Kids by nature are narcissistic. So whatever is going on around them, it's about them. So this is how we start to create our beliefs. Those beliefs: I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy, nobody likes me. And in that moment of my life, a very close companion, installed in my life: loneliness. And then this little girl started to feel lonely. The whole world is against her, and she has to fight for her space in the world. And these were the the baseline of her later adulthood experience. So as she grew, she was integrating these beliefs into her life, into her relationships, into everything.
Yeah, like we do, because when we're little, we're sponges, so we just download everything as they are, that's the only reality, right?
Exactly. And they started to create not just her story, but her destiny.
Yeah.
This is what kids do. We create the beliefs. Those beliefs create our life story, and that creates our destiny.
Yeah.
Until at some moment, perhaps some other situations come, some triggers, some reflection from the environment that start to point us. You have to look inside, and there you might find the answers and start changing a little bit, those beliefs, and perhaps impact your destiny. And this is what we all do. We take those child beliefs into our adult life and write our own story. So this is, I wanted to just...
Yeah, so we get like, so that's baseline. So then
that's a baseline.
Then I really understand that where you're coming from, that you had that, and what you had with you, and what your, I guess, your identity was at that time in your life.
Absolutely. I remember myself hiding in the garage and just telling myself, I'm alone, very angry, I'm alone, nobody likes me, and everyone is against me, like, like very small child, and then every time something would happen in the environment, we just confirmed my theory. So, and this is how we become lonely.
I feel the sadness in my heart when you because I can relate to that, being that lonely little girl. So So, but then you start to give that girl some love, or
way later.
Way later.
Later. So, as I said, I would like to zoom on the relationships, because this is the area which was impacted the most. There's no basically role model how a relationship, a healthy relationship should look like. It's completely missing. I was just growing up in an environment of women.
Yeah, because your dad was not around.
No. So the father figure would be my grandfather, who was very authoritative.
Oh.
So that was the only man figure I had in my life. So, and then when you go through adolescence and you start to create those first romantic relationships, you taste love, and everything goes just wrong. You don't understand what's going on and why it's not working out, like in the series or in the movies or in the books. You have to figure all that out by your own.
Yeah.
And you engage in these destructive behaviors towards yourself, towards the other person, blaming everyone else around you. This is how those beliefs can later reflect in our life. And then it keeps happening again and again with another person. You know, same story, different person.
So what was the story? What was the pattern that kept on repeating?
So that I'm lonely.
Even in the relationship, so
that's the paradox.
So, but in the relationship, you were lonely, so which meant that you were trying to you were obsessive. You were what? How did that manifest in the relationship?
Right.
What sort of what went wrong?
So I would say it depends a little bit also on the person who I was in a relationship with, but I would naturally go for or emotionally unavailable people, or narcissistic, or people who were cheating. So very painful experiences that were reflecting me my self-worth, which was very low at that time. So everything I was longing for, the love, you know, the care, I was just not able to get from those relationships. And the pattern I was repeating is the loneliness. You know, that's the paradox, that we feel lonely and often in a relationship. Because if there is no connection, disconnection happens, and more we feel disconnected, more we feel lonely, and better we can confirm the theory that I'm alone.
Yeah. So it's either you felt more alone in the relationship because you were disconnected in the relationship, which emphasized the loneliness theory.
Yeah.
So periods where you were not in a relationship, was that different, or was the loneliness, the feeling of loneliness, the same? Can you just say just to distinguish, because it's one thing to be lonely in a relationship because you're not connected to the person, but then when you actually are outside a relationship, was there a difference or was the loneliness emphasized by being in a relationship that was not good for you?
It was experienced differently because there's another person, so you would expect, oh, this would give me some sense of comfort, but it wasn't really happening, you know? Because we place too much expectations on the other person, that this person should do this, and that for us. So in order we feel this way.
Yeah.
So, and it doesn't really work that way.
Yeah.
Relationships do not work that way.
Yeah, so in order to be loved, this is what it would. So you had a playbook.
Yeah. And then as it kept repeating, you know, similar scenario, different people. Then I started to, perhaps I do play some role in my own suffering, and it's time to look at it.
Yeah.
And this is where it started. So I would say this relationships were a very necessary part of the healing process to come to a certain realizations. Only then the healing process can start, you know, when the...
Yeah, was this because you're a trained therapist?
Yeah.
So was this before or after you did your formal training as a therapist, or did that coincide?
I studied psychology, so I graduated in psychology. So already there I was exposed to psychology. As a part of my training, I work in a psychiatric hospital with children. And back at that time, it was early 20s, my early 20s, it was too confrontational for me, you know, with my own story.
Yeah.
And I did not realize how much important is, well, we can study psychology, we can read the books, we can listen podcasts, but it's not going to change anything inside of us.
No.
We have to do the work. I didn't really understand this back then.
Yeah.
And I always knew I want to work with people, but it didn't just feel right. You know, I was 25 or 6 when I finished the school, and it just didn't feel right. Yeah. Because I felt like I still have my own work to do. So I just chose a different path. Back then I work in HR, in startups, and that was nice as well. But I always knew that it's temporary. It's just a passage I have to go through, and I would eventually get back to therapeutic and psychological work. But it took me through my own journey, and that whole journey took perhaps 15 years. And then I felt, okay, now I feel ready. And then I went again through some therapeutic trainings. And, well, I went through plenty of therapeutic trainings, not just one. And now I feel in a good place enough to sit here and to talk to you about this and to, be there for people, be there for my clients who are going through this process, because I've been there.
Yeah.
And
So do you work specifically with relationships, or is it?
not specifically, but it's a topic that comes a lot. And I would say what I can, or what I see, it comes a lot for people between 25, 35. It's really I'm not saying it's universal, this is just what I'm experiencing. But it's really the age when we start to question things. Either people are in a relationship, perhaps should not be yet, or they are single and they're questioning, oh, what's going on, what's happening, why there's no the prince coming to my life. Or they go through some challenges in their current relationship. So different reasons. But what I find the most interesting, and perhaps which is the most close to my own story, is this: when people find themselves single and they really long for relationship, for love, and then they meet again that person, and then again the story repeats, and more this happens with the years, we start to believe, okay, well, it's just not for me. I will just be single. And I understand. I was there myself. From one side, because we had so many disappointing experiences, and love, romantic relationships, and intimacy is something very, very deep. And can be very painful. And if this keeps repeating, of course, we come to a point, okay, enough. So staying in that space of being single, it's also a protective mechanism. Because if I'm there, I'm protecting. Nothing can happen. Nobody can.
Yeah, I'm happy by myself and no one can hurt me.
And that's fine. It's important to be sometimes on our own and just figure out things. But it doesn't have to be the sentence. If we really long for closeness, if we really want to have a partner next to us.
But if I'm just looking back and just reflecting on myself and my own experiences, that also this with actually going through some difficult relationships in different ways, but and then deciding to realizing that it was a lot of healing that needed to take place on my behalf, and that was especially for me. It was my relationship to my father, and that he was actually his inability to show love made me, and I think that's very similar to your story. Even though my dad may have been, he was present, but he was still not there, and he could not provide and give me love. So which meant that I was trying to, I couldn't love me. So, and I was searching for that love through another person instead of, and then I come to realize that it has to do with, I have to love myself. Everything has to start with me. And when I do the work and love myself and heal those wounds from my childhood when in the relationship with my father, that's when I can attract that man in my life. But it took 5, almost 6 years as a single, being single, and chose to be that, because I was like, no, because of the also. And then once that, I was like, okay, now I want to find that man. And it's like terrifying. Is that?
Yeah. It can be.
Yeah.
Sometimes it creates an internal conflict between, okay, I know this was not working and I don't want this anymore. I'm in this space by myself and I'm just doing fine. I feel good. But I want someone, I could create that healthy relationship. And it can create conflict inside of us, because in the middle where I'm on my own, it's safe. As soon as I get out of it and I enter a relationship, anything can happen. Even though you find the right person, something can happen, And we again are exposed to possible or eventual pain. So sometimes it's difficult to get out of this safe zone. And I experience it the same way. Takes a courage to to get out of there and to go back and start to date and meet people.
Yeah, because it's very vulnerable. I mean, you're
Yes.
vulnerable, especially if you're deciding to take the mask off and show yourself.
Exactly.
And talk from and say, this is what I need, this is what I want, this is what I'm looking for. What are you? What do you want and look for? Could we explore this together? And I think that's when you expose yourself and looking for that, I don't know, a real relationship. I don't know, because what is your definition of a healthy relationship? Do you have like a definition of that?
I would say what is it for me, or what I'm experiencing right now with my partner?
Yeah.
It's that we are both adults. I guess it's simplest, actually.
That's a good one.
We're both adults, yeah. We know what we want.
Yeah.
We know what we are creating together.
Yeah.
We are getting to know each other every day. We are committing to each other. We are choosing each other. And if something is off or something is not working, we talk it through.
Yeah.
And a very important thing, also from a therapeutic perspective, it's repairing things. Because ruptures happen all the time in relationships.
Yeah.
Especially in intimate relationships. Any type of rupture, you just want to talk and the other person is tired and is not listening and you get offended. Oh, you don't listen to me. And I go to that place of being alone.
Yeah,
Lonely,
and being that wounded child, right?
Exactly. So
being that girl sitting in the garage and feeling all lonely again, right?
And it's just the partner is just tired. It doesn't have really mental capacity right now for it, And it doesn't mean that it doesn't love you or you're lonely. It's just not the right timing.
Yeah. Because that just when you say like that, it makes me. You said something about that we think that everything is about us, that we're narcissistic
By nature.
by nature. So really, what you're saying there is that's what we think, that if a bit like if you have to distinguish what's really what's on me and what is actually has nothing to do with me.
Exactly. And
yeah.
And that's why when we do this inner work, then we realize what are our triggers and how to take care of them.
Yeah.
And how to emotionally regulate and how to, we have to do these things in relationships or not. We just have to continuously, because life happens, things happens, different situations we have to face and difficulties. And it's very important to constantly keep working on ourselves and not projecting this on the other person, that they did this, they did that, and being victim. It doesn't mean it doesn't happen. It can happen that we are in a relationship with a person that doesn't respect us or it's abusive, but as I said, because we're adult, we have a free will to walk away.
Yeah. So that is because I'm just thinking about that, and especially for the listeners. Now, when you say it sounds so easy in a healthy relationship where two adults, but that's obvious. I mean, how old are you? You're an adult, right? But it's about, what is that about? Emotional maturity, or what do you mean when you say that that you're both are adults?
For me, it is, yes. It's all about emotional maturity. I think we have many grown-ups with emotional maturity of 8 years, 10 years old.
Yeah.
So it really needs that emotional work because nobody taught us. Nobody taught us how to process emotions. Not just they didn't teach us, they didn't know themselves.
Yeah.
So how they could transmit. I think that's work we are doing nowadays because we have way more evidence and way more information and it's more accessible to people. It doesn't mean it's easy. It's not.
No, because we keep on coming back to that it's work. It sounds like we're striving towards something, but I think it's more about, I like what you said, that it's an active choice. We choose each other.
Exactly. And of course, I would like to underline perhaps, so when we choose to get out of this space of, okay, I was by my own, and it was great, but now perhaps I'm ready for a relationship. It's also not easy to let somebody enter your life and your space because it changes your life in a certain way. You're not on your own. And even though you have to take care of your needs, it's not just about you anymore. There is also the other person.
Yeah.
And we cannot fulfill our needs by denying needs of the other person. It doesn't work that way either. We have to consider their needs as well. So it's kind of that space that was just by yourself. It's now shared by two people.
Yeah. Yeah, because that's what you mean. So we're actually this with sharing the space with another person, or your intimate space, your most inner. I mean, because you enter really a romantic relationship is a, you can't really compare that to a friendship or a relationship with a parent, because it is a different it is a different vulnerability, right?
Yeah, the boundaries way thinner.
Yeah.
Than in other type of relationships.
Yeah.
There is intimacy.
Yeah.
So it's different.
But do you think that it requires a compromise then? Is that the right word, or what do you say?
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Not in a way I have to deny my needs, or but sometimes.
Yeah.
Because what I see nowadays and what I also experience myself, and I was kind of navigating through it, it's like we hear a lot, okay, we go from this destructive relationship pattern into the extreme self-love. So it's again another extreme on the other edge. And then we completely start to deny needs of others because I need this and I feel like this. And, you know, relationships require commitment. And it's always dense between what I need and what you need and what I can offer. And do I have the capacity right now or not? And it's dynamic. Relationships are dynamic. It's not something static. So I guess what I want to say is, or at least for me to be in a healthy place, to realize what I need, effectively communicate that with the other person.
Yeah.
And, you know, and sometimes it takes time. It can take years. So we find the right space between us.
Okay. Do you think that when we talk about resilience, because that's really the theme of this podcast and really what so when you it is for you, is that when we talk about in specific about relationships, so the resilience in being resilient, is that continue believe that there is a healthy relationship, continue to do the work and actually to find that right person, or how do you see your resilience in relationship to in relations to relationships?
Well, if I would compare it from before and with nowadays, the way it was before, if something went wrong in my relationship, everything went wrong in my life.
Okay.
So each areas, like different areas of our life, they impact each other. So if something changes here, it might impact my health, might impact my work. So this is how I realized I was not resilient. You know, if something went wrong there, everything just broke down.
Oh, yeah.
Now, okay, things might not go the way I would like, or there are some conflicts or confrontations, but I can still contain myself and kind of function in other areas of my life. Like that's resilience for me. I don't see the world like everything is dark, you know, and it's not worth it. And, you know, people always go to that place that's just everything is useless. So for me, this is also how I see resilience. Okay, this is happening. I'm more resilient now. I have tools I can turn to if I need to. I can still function. I can do my work.
Yeah, yeah.
So this is how I also see I'm way more resilient. And also, if something happens there in the relationship, it doesn't change the story about myself.
Yeah.
as it used to before.
Mm.
My story was very depending on the other person.
And the other person. Yeah, I can see that that happens in a more of a just structural relationship. Absolutely. Because then you now with then, because you said you have the resources to actually handle each area of your life in a different way. So if you have a relationship issue, that's not going to affect the rest of your life. But then you talked about emotional regulation. Is that a part of that? Is that a part of the tools?
Absolutely, yeah. A big part of my journey was yoga practice. I found such a safe space on the mat, so I would constantly keep returning and returning. And this was perhaps the first time I found a safe space somewhere. That was yoga for me, that yoga meant to me. And then meditation and breath work. It's an excellent tool.
Yeah.
Lately, it's been more dense. Like to flow more lately rather than have that yoga structure. But I still practice.
Yeah.
And music, I play piano, I like to sing, I like to write, I like to read. So these are all tools which I think are very important for our emotional health, support. So these are resources we can still return to.
Yeah, that's really good to have, like a big toolbox of things that are really accessible, which is just finding that room and space for it. I think. I mean, the breath is amazing if you because you can always find. I mean, you have to breathe all the time, so why not practice intentional breathing so you can self-regulate and self-soothe, because that's also part of that, isn't it?
And beside these tools, then you have safe relationships.
Yeah.
Safe container that can. It's different for different people, and I know it might be difficult and challenging for some, but sometimes it can be offered by family, sometimes by friends or a therapist or some therapeutic healing space where people are properly trained to offer this kind of support. So this is also important, and that was a big part of my journey as well. And information, at least, to get to know a little bit more about things. What's attachment style and how it works. Sometimes it's helpful to understand how things work, how our brain works, how our emotions work, and what you can do, how you can help yourself. Social circles. It's very important.
Yeah, and I think also this is a to like you said about learning, listening, and community. I think this. So the intention of this podcast is to be part of that circle, that community, that support, that knowledge, the shared experience. So I'm really thankful that you're here and sharing your story and your experiences in this, because when we met and talked about this before, we actually sat down and just like the pre the getting to know each other chat sort of thing. We talked about this, how relationship is this, and you mentioned that in the beginning as well, how that is such a hot topic, how difficult it is to find or create. First, I think you need to find the person. You have to be the person and find the person, and then together you create that healthy relationship, right? And how, because I'm looking at a lot of my girlfriends are like single looking, and the dating scene is just like awful, because it's I don't know what's gone wrong. Have you got any sort of what do you think?
Well, we have to date in order to find the person, right?
Yeah.
So we have to give it a chance. Then there are many channels.
Yeah.
I don't know what people. Well, very modern are apps. Not sure how safe that space is. But of course, I know stories that some nice relationships came out of dating apps. So
Yeah.
it's definitely possible, but it might be triggering for many people because of lack of safety of that environment.
And then as well, I find that there's a lot of emotional immaturity as well. So you have a lot of people looking for a relationship and they haven't done the work with themselves. So they're not emotionally available for a relationship because they are doing what you told me, but what you did, you went from one relationship to the other without actually doing the work and repeating the same pattern. So I think we have a lot of that going on as well, that we haven't done the work with ourselves.
Yeah, and for that, both parties need to want this and create this and kind of being on the same, perhaps, page.
Yeah.
But I would say this is specifically a problem of the Western world.
Yeah.
It's not happening all over the world, people are in relationships and marriages, they create families, but in the Western world it's a big thing to be single or by your own.
What has gone I'm not going to say wrong, but why do you have any theory about that?
What are your thoughts on this? I would like to
what my thoughts are.
Jessica, on this, what's your theory?
I think that we've become, first of all, I think that we're in this constant dopamine, quick fix. Things are, we want the instant gratification. We want the instant kick. We want the instant. So I think it's a lot of we just move on. People don't have I think the patience of staying, the patience of it just becomes, okay, I'll move on and I will just, so instead of doing the work, I think we're just moving on. We don't have time to stop. And also I think there is a thing, and I think you mentioned it as well, this with commitment. I think that there is for some strange reason that I don't really understand, that we are afraid to commit to a relationship because maybe we're missing out on something better. I don't know.
Absolutely.
Is that?
I believe there is a huge problem with intimate relationship is the biggest commitment you can give to someone.
Yeah.
And people often can't even come in to go and get a coffee.
No.
Or they cancel on the last moment.
Yeah.
How do you want to engage in a love relationship if you can't really engage to get a coffee with a friend?
No.
So I think that this is the commitment. It's a big issue. And this, so I don't know if you heard of this, like 3 steps or 3 levels of emotional freedom. First is often we deny our needs, our emotions, and we do everything for the others, for to please.
Yeah.
Then we become aware, and then we pass on to step 2, and we start to be aware of our own needs.
Yeah.
Perhaps even too much.
Yeah.
And we just look after our own needs and completely disregard other people. We are angry, they want something from us. And then there is the last, and that's the closest to emotional freedom. That means I'm aware of my own needs. I can take care of them. But I'm also aware that in the room there is also Jessica, and she has her own needs. And, and she might need something from me. So I cannot get my needs fulfilled and deny your needs. And from what I see, that people are often stuck in the second step, just taking care of their own needs. Yeah. And it's important. I'm not saying it's not, but not at a price that we will completely disregard the needs of someone else. Yeah. So that is that. And then I also noticed, I don't know if you grew up in a village or in a city, but it's very different dating like in a village or countryside and in a city. And I would say this problem I mostly saw in a city.
Yeah, it's a city problem.
It's more difficult. Like there is way more disconnection, so it just makes it more difficult to connect with people. So perhaps that's also one of the reasons. And maybe this might be confronting
Mm-hmm.
for some people, what I'm going to say, but we are, I believe, and I used to do that as well, that we are too fixed on the ideal. So what my ideal partner should look like, and should have this, and blue eyes, and should have this height, like all these kind of things.
Yeah.
And we are completely missing out of what is real and around us because we are so fixed on this ideal.
Mm.
And there's one exercise I like to do with the clients when I see this pattern, to kind of put two chairs, one chair, another chair, and you place your ideal person, and you describe what they look like and how you would like them to be, and then you turn to them and you tell them, but you do not exist, and you let them go.
Yeah.
And then you can turn to what's real.
Mm.
So you look to the other chair, to what's real, what is around you, what is available, and what is good enough to create a relationship.
Mm.
And
oh wow, I like that.
And I went through it with my therapist, and it was pretty painful.
Yeah.
To realize, like, oh wow.
Yeah.
So I've been always stuck between two partners. The one I created in my head that doesn't exist, but it's very safe because it can't hurt me.
Mm.
And the one that is real and has imperfections, you know, and things, and you know, their own story, but they're real.
Yeah.
And you can actually create something with them.
Yeah.
And when I got out of that, I would say their miracles started to happen.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, I can feel it. I think that what's really causes us pain in life, isn't it? That it's our idea of our ideal life, ideal partner, and the discrepancy to the life we're living. So either, I mean, it's really basic, and that's what you're demonstrating with that exercise. That either you change your idea of how reality should be, like the idea of how your partner should look. You need to change that, or move in another direction, and maybe then accept that, okay, in the world I live in, there's no ideal partner. He doesn't exist, or she doesn't exist. Right. So then you make an active choice, but you cannot be in a relationship and live in that, because that's where suffering is going to happen, and really. Right. Because then you're living with someone that, or spending your life with someone that you don't really want, because they're not the ideal person. Right.
And sometimes I see this happening in relationships. People are already in a relationship, but they are free of them. Yeah. You know, the partner, so the person, for example, a client, their partner, and their ideal partner. They're free of them in a relationship.
Yeah, maybe they're four because their partner might have another.
Yeah. We don't have access to that part of the story. But it takes time to work this through, that this just does not exist, and this is what exists and what is. Yeah. And going back to the topic of this podcast, that's where the resilience start to create. Okay. Yeah. So that doesn't exist. This is real, and what I can do about it. Yeah. Because we are not powerless. We are really not powerless.
Not at all, because I think that's really, I think commitment is really and acceptance. In my previous episode from this podcast, we talked about this the different pillars of resilience and life. I guess it is. We talked about gratitude, acceptance, compassion, meaning, and forgiveness. And I think that's quite sort of because if you don't accept your reality, where you're at, then you have no means of changing anything.
Right. And when we accept, then the inner work can actually start.
Yeah.
Because until then we live in a story. It's just a story.
Yeah.
But sometimes story needs to be told, and only after we can do the work. That's also sometimes how it goes.
Yeah. And sometimes we need to go through a couple of relationships to experience that story for real, to understand that this is a story that doesn't work for me. I want to change the story. I want to change the narrative and start to do that work.
Right.
Yeah. So this with resilience then, it comes in all shapes and forms, right? In all areas of life.
Absolutely.
Do you think that when you look at like the resilience you grew out of your relationship pattern, can you apply that in other parts of your other areas of your life?
Absolutely, yeah. The boundaries with my family, that was completely missing. I'm still working on it, but it's way more possible nowadays than it used to be, or in my other type of relationships, friendships.
Yeah.
At my work, for sure. Yeah, mostly at my. Actually, it went hand in hand, I have to say. Like as I was going through my own healing, and kind of, and I would not say it was just this specific aha moment. No, there were plenty, and there were many moments when just nothing was happening. And it's how it is. And then, but as these changes were happening, and I noticed it the most in my relationships, then I also started to, okay, maybe I feel more ready to hold a space for other people. I felt way more emotionally, because it requires certain emotional availability for others and resilience.
And stability, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So it kind of went hand in hand. So definitely I could see it in my work.
Yeah.
And that allowed me to be able to do this work, which I always wanted to do. I just didn't feel I have emotional maturity in my 20s.
Yeah.
And in my health, for sure.
Yeah.
Sorry, my health.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would say these were the major areas of my life.
But so it gave a like a domino effect. So when you really work on that one area in your life, everything else changes to the better because you change.
Exactly.
So you mature from that little lonely girl into an adult that make active choices and are emotional mature.
Yeah, you said it positively affects, but also it can affect negatively some other areas, right? Because, for example, if I used to like to travel and do things on my own, it's not really possible anymore. If you're committed and more stable, you're just not going to do like a world trip for a year on your own. So it has that kind of.
Yeah, it's some trade-offs maybe, or maybe not, because maybe you would, or maybe you can travel. Maybe you can do. That's where the compromise come in, right?
Exactly, so that's what I meant. Probably.
Yeah. So maybe you can travel. Maybe you don't travel on your own for 1 year. Maybe you travel alone for parts of the year, or maybe you go together and it's sort of so. Yeah. So that is the adjustment to.
Exactly. Or if you have your own space.
Yeah.
And then now there are two of you. So and both of you have certain needs, and I like to have things my own way, and now suddenly there is someone and the things are in a different way, in a different place. It was really challenging for me at the beginning. Now it's way better.
Yeah.
But you have to adjust to those things, but you have to want to.
Yeah.
It's happening on both sides.
Yeah, absolutely. And I also think it is that you have to maybe just see how important is this to me, really.
Exactly.
It's like, I mean, if there are dishes standing for overnight, which is for me one of those things, I love to wake up in the morning and I don't want to have dishes from the day before. But no one is going to die. Nothing is going to happen, and I can choose then. My choice is then to either do the dishes myself, or may I pick an argument about it, or just accept that my partner will do it tomorrow morning, and that will be fine. So I mean, it's about this with, and it's like okay,
what resilience does, it brings sort of flexibility. We become a bit more flexible, more tolerant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's definitely needed in life in general,
Oh,
isn't
yeah,
it?
absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mostly nowadays.
So this has been a bit of it's been a deep conversation, a bit different in a way that we've really talked a lot about, like the relationship and really gone deep into the relationship as a topic within the area of being resilient and trauma, which I found it was so meaningful and so inspiring to really hear that and just hear that, because I think that we have this idea of things, we have some expectations on how life should be, how a relationship should be, how someone else should be, and then just work with that and just realize that, okay, if there's a gap there, what can I do with that? And work with that, really. So, but Monika, tell me, what do you want to share with out of our conversation and your experiences and the work you've been doing? What do you want to share with our listeners?
In what sense?
Just about being resilient, about moving, using the life experiences in changing the story, changing the narrative, move from a maybe not destructive, but move from a not so positive situation to something that is has a more of a positive context and meaning.
So first of all, wherever the listeners are in their life, it's possible to change.
Yeah.
Even though nothing is changing and there's this feeling of being stuck or lonely, and I understand it's very frustrating.
Yeah.
And sometimes unbearable, but it's possible to change if we take the right steps. If we research ourselves, we find a safe space. And perhaps what was so it's about the relationship, the resilience, the change. What was very important for me was my own therapy and that therapeutic relationship, because that's the space for repair. And where I learned to trust, where I learned to open, be vulnerable. And I learned, okay, even though I share these things, nobody's going to hurt me. It's safe. So if you can find that one person in your life, it doesn't have to be a therapist or a healer, it can be a friend, that person can create a safe space for you, you can start healing. Because for me, healing is relational. It happens inside of a relationship when we feel safe. I don't believe anyone can do it for us or anyone can heal us, but they can awake that healing power within us. So,
wow, and what I hear you say is that healing happens in relations, like in an exchange, in a container.
In a container, right? And both happens in a relationship, destruction and a healing. So, yeah, I found healing to be relational.
Yeah.
But we need the right person for that, who can help us to awake our own healing power. And
yeah. So then just the last curious question then, I don't know if it just came to me now, is that, so do you think then that in order to heal properly from intimate relationship traumas or difficulties, would a new healthy relationship be that last last key moment of full, complete healing of that. You understand what I'm saying? That you can do healing in therapeutics. You can go through and do a lot of healing yourself, but then to really, really completely heal from that trauma and from toxic relationships, that can be done within the safe container of a healthy relationship.
I wouldn't say it's like the end point, because I believe healing is like lifelong.
Yeah, but
therapy is a lifelong journey if someone chooses that path. But certainly, as we have those destructive relationships, I believe we have to have those healthy relationships as well. And if the issue comes from love or romantic relationship, the healing might not happen in that area. You might need to look for it somewhere else, friendships, therapy, healing, etc.
Yeah.
But then it's very important to experience it in relationships. So we get that experience as well, that this is possible, that even this is possible.
Even this is possible. And that sends a signal to your nervous system and your whole emotional, your whole being, right? That it is possible. You don't have to be in this toxic container. There is something, there is a container that's beautiful, where you can feel safe and be loved and share love.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jessica.
Thank you. That was so beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. And I love this conversation about really going deep into relationships and to this topic that's so close to my heart and to everyone, how important it is to find that meaningful relationship, and how those childhood wounds needs to be addressed, that we cannot bring that little girl with us to a healthy relationship, because then you will act like that little girl. Right.
Exactly.
So
can't agree more.
Thank you once again, Monika, and thank you for
Jessica.
listening. It's been a very heartwarming and meaningful conversation. I hope that you can pick your goodies out of this. I'm still like too full of the conversation to actually pick something. But if I'm going to just pick one piece from this, I think it is the full commitment and that you have to be an adult, and emotional regulation is one of those keys. And so go out there, work on your relationships, and commit to find that relationship with yourself first, and then add on that with another person in your life. So with that said, I just want to wish you a lovely rest of the day, your week, and until next time, look after yourself.